Analysis of Donald Trump's Palestine policy and approach. U.S. President Donald Trump's approach toward the Palestinian leadership and the Palestinian issue departed sharply from traditional American foreign policy, relying largely on a business mindset, transactional diplomacy, and an America First vision. Trump's distant stance and firm attitude on the Palestinian issue can be explained through several core geopolitical and strategic axes. 1. The belief in the failure of traditional diplomacy. Trump viewed decades of unsuccessful peace negotiations and two-state solution proposals as an exhausted and fruitless cycle. In his view, despite decades of funneling billions of dollars in international aid and funding, the Palestinian leadership's failure to achieve economic development, institutional transparency, or lasting peace was proof that the current leadership had lost its capacity to negotiate. Trump criticized structures that perpetrate failure and a continuous rhetoric of victimhood as a sustainable strategy. 2. The deal of the century and the economically centric approach. The Trump administration sought to ground the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in economic development rather than classical political and historical border disputes. The plan announced in 2019, dubbed the Deal of the Century, envisaged massive international investments in Palestinian territories while aiming to reshape political concessions and the status quo according to terms set by the U.S. The Palestinian leadership's outright rejection of this plan was interpreted by Trump as a sign that they did not want peace or were incapable of seizing opportunities. 3. Deepening the U.S.-Israeli alliance and the Jerusalem move. The strategic partnership established with the State of Israel was elevated to its highest level during Trump's tenure. The most radical steps taken in this context include recognition of Jerusalem as capital. Moving the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem meant a unilateral break from the decades-long American diplomatic consensus. Citing off aid, halting almost entirely U.S. financial aid to Palestinians and funding for UNRWA, United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, was used as a tool to force the Palestinian leadership into compliance with Washington's policies. 4. The Abraham Accords and regional dynamics. The most significant rupture in Middle East policy during the Trump era was the Abraham Accords, which removed the Palestinian issue as a precondition for regional success, bypassing the traditional process. The normalization of diplomatic relations with Israel by Arab countries such as the UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, and Sudan without waiting for a resolution to the Palestinian issue was a product of the Trump administration's isolation strategy regarding Palestinian policy. This move aimed to weaken the regional bargaining power of the Palestinian leadership. Conclusion. Donald Trump's approach to the Palestinian issue was not based on personal animosity, but rather on a political philosophy that prioritizes American interests and rejects traditional diplomatic norms. In his view, the Palestinian issue is not an insolvable historical trauma, but a dysfunctional crisis area that is poorly managed, generates no economic return, and continuously burdens the U.S. with financial and diplomatic costs.